go again with this Facebook stuff.
Ever since it turned to Meta, it's a mess.
Yes, it's, I don't know. It keeps doing this.
It happens all the time.
All right, so let's try this again. Good evening, people. Welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversation Show with your host, Camila, aka Sunshine. It is Tuesday, March 21st. We are almost into the next month. I can't believe it, in this whole new year. Again, we praise, of course, because we are in the land of the living. It could have been another way, but however, we are right here now breathing. We are live on Facebook at my page, Sunshine Camila, Kamela. We are live on the YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. It is the name of the show, of course, Keeping It Real Conversations with Sunshine. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Twitter. Same name of the show. Find us somewhere. You have no excuses to find us and get with us, share it, like it, subscribe, do all of those wonderful things so we can get our audience up. Again, we have a dope guest as usual. It's never a dull moment here, ever. Our tagline, of course, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. It has been proven over and over again since we started this show in September. It'll be 3 years. Again, we have been going strong with strong, motivated individuals, from the athletes to the doctors to the regular 9 to 5 to the moms to the dads to the youth. I have no limits, so neither shall you. So again, tonight, let's get into this wonderful guest tonight. Dr. Nia Imani.
You got it.
Bailey. Doctor, that is. And I did say that. Let me go back on that part. Dr. Nia Imani Bailey is a radiation therapist.
Yes, ma'am.
Guess what, y'all? She only 30. What was I doing at 30? It sure wasn't thinking about being no doctor. Not at all. We're going to move on. West Philadelphia native. She is experienced motivational speaker, activist, breast cancer advocate, writer, author, director, executive director, and of course, woman of God.
Most important.
Additionally, Dr. Bailey has been employed as a radiation therapist for the last 8 years. In December 2020, Dr. Bailey received her doctoral degree in public administration at Westchester University in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Her primary focus for her dissertation, Federal Health Reform, Breast Cancer Outcomes, focused and described how young women are diagnosed with breast cancer. Healthcare regulations and guidelines are preventing young women from getting early preventive care and services. As a result, young women dying from breast cancer. Mm-hmm. The qualitative dissertation sought to prove the significance of lowering the mammogram age from 40 years old to 30 years old. This study aimed to examine policy frameworks for screening mammograms and insurance coverage, which I don't like those things at all.
I know.
Dr. Bailey has dedicated her life's mission to continue to fight for reform in the healthcare system and educating the community about breast care awareness and resources. Through her life's mission, Dr. Nia Imani created, wrote, and directed A Letter to My Sisters, a breast cancer documentary for young women, which gives some insight into the journey of young women dealing with their breast cancer diagnosis and life itself. Dr. Bailey also founded a nonprofit organization and is the author of an interactive children's book. As the founder and president of Agape, Finding Your Purpose, Incorporating Your Faith nonprofit organization, our mission is to feed, clothe, and fellowship with the homeless men and women of the Logan Square section of Philadelphia. Ultimately, the end goal is to eradicate homelessness everywhere. Last but not least, as previously mentioned, Dr. Bailey is the author of an interactive children's book entitled Love Thy Neighbor. Love Thy Neighbor highlights the little girl's mission to feed, clothe, and fellowship with homeless people. Does that sound familiar? I think it does. Dr. Bailey has been featured on 6 ABC News, Fox 29 Philly, South Carolina Voyage, Greater Good Magazine, what is that?
Christianity Care.
Care. Yeah, there we go. News, the Boston Globe, and the Times and the Suburban. Thanks for everything, Dr. Nia. And I will have her to find her on social media. I will have that later on. Because I did put it in on the slides. So, you guys, I want you to welcome this wonderful doctor to our show, Dr. Nia Imani Bailey.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited for meeting a new human being that I've never met before.
Yes, ma'am.
In person, that is.
Yes.
So I always have this moment before we get into our conversation of how we connected.
Okay.
So at this point, I connected by Beverly Brooks,
Who's amazing.
who I had on my show a couple of months ago. Last year, I actually had her husband on the show as well. Wow. Then I turned around and had them on as a couple.
That's beautiful.
And last Friday, I was on their radio show. So the conversation went like, we got this woman, and I feel like you need to connect with her. And it was nothing because I trust Beverly's judgment. In this time, in this short moment of time that I meet people, it's a genuine conversation. It's a genuine relationship. And a lot of my guests also came from her recommendation of, you need to talk to her. So again, tonight we are in that same mode, in that same vein of, she has something to say.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like the world needs to know who you are.
Wow, thank you.
Locally as well as internationally, the world in general. I feel like this with every guest because they bring something unique to the platform in order for them to not only tell how they strive, not only to tell the struggles, not only to tell where they came from or whatever. I'm going to get with you.
Yeah.
Because I know the beginning, I know the middle,
right?
I know the end. Right. I know where you are now. And so I'm a personally pick up my own pom-poms, which I need to get. I need to get my own pom-poms. So yeah.
Audition.
Exactly. So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Let's go back into, when did you know that you were different?
Oh Lord, that's a question. I think I'm still realizing that. You know, I think my mom would tell me about my grandmother, Lorraine Smiley Bird, and my grandmother would tell my mother she's different. And I think now that my grandmother has passed, and I have her old Bible, and in that Bible, next to certain scriptures is my name.
Mm.
So I think, and my brother's name too, but and I think to answer your question, I realized when I was different. I don't know when, but when I open that Bible and I see that my grandmother understood that I would need certain scriptures to get through my life, and that just spoke volumes to me because I think she saw something in me, and because I love her so much, I think I will agree with her and see something else special in me. So that's when I realized I was different, when I opened the Bible and saw my name next to certain scriptures.
So I usually tell this story that um, my meeting of being different, of course, was my mom,
Okay.
who was a RN nurse,
Wow.
who also um, was a singer
Wow.
and very heavy in church.
Wow.
And so, hey everyone, hey, share, share, share. Um, so those moments of realizing that the love that she poured into us
Mm-hmm.
would eventually take us places that we saw in books, we saw
Right.
in movies, we saw in those moments of our Easter plays and
Right. Right. Right.
Easter speeches and all of these things. If you can conquer the church,
Right.
you can conquer anywhere.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so that propelled us and got us started for us to do what we do in school.
Okay.
It was nothing. So um to see your name next to scriptures, and I'm hearing in the spirit, basically your grandma was planting seeds.
Mm-hmm. It's so crazy because that Bible she had, so I was born in 92. That Bible she had was in 96. And some of the scriptures that she played, honor your mother and father, how Jesus and his disciples fed the masses, well, which relates to the homeless, how I have that nonprofit. And just, I was 4 when she put my name in there. My brother is 8 years older than me. So, he was younger too. And I don't know. It gives me chills, and I appreciate that on so many levels. I appreciate that because it brings me closer to Christ, but it also, I appreciate it as she has passed. I still feel connection to her.
So sometimes, grandmas know.
They know.
Grandmas knows best.
They know.
And the seed, to see it grow,
Mm-hmm.
and even on the path of she's different. And when she gets to that place, when she really realized that she's different, her path is automatically going to be different.
Mm.
And sometimes as young adults,
Yeah.
we don't like different. We want to fit in. We
Mm-hmm.
want to be like everybody else. Well, you
Sorry.
gotta say something different.
Yeah. Sorry.
So in those moments of knowing that you're different,
Uh-huh.
what were you doing to, I guess, accept your differences?
That's a great question. Oh my goodness. What kind of,
Girl.
Father, you got me thinking. I think accepting and being obedient to God. So, for example, I didn't want to start a nonprofit. I just want to help. Here's the food, here's the clothes. I don't have the time. But, okay, Nia, be on your path, be obedient to God. That's what He called you to do. Just do it. So I got it done. Okay. Being obedient and getting the doctorate. I said so many times to my advisor, I'm over it. I'm done. Forget about it. I'll pay back the loans. I'm good. Nia, stay on your path. Be obedient. So everything in my life, whether I didn't want to do it, because I always say I don't have the time for it. And God said, you will have the time for it. be obedient to me, and then I will open doors for you. So I think just in my life, I just, no matter what, whether I wanted to or not, I had to be obedient.
Which is a good word
Mm-hmm.
to continue to have.
Yes.
We don't want to get to the obedience is better than sacrifice.
Mm.
You want to do the obedience because he said so.
Right.
And some of us is hard-headed. Some of us was hard-headed to the point of you need to sit down because you going way left.
Right.
And if I don't catch you now,
mm-hmm.
you're going to mess up the plan.
Uh-huh.
And so obedience, and I love this, John chapter 15, the entire chapter
mm-hmm.
is my second coming, my second place of life again.
Uh-huh.
Of I understand that in order for me to get all the blessings that God has in the plan,
mm-hmm.
it starts with obedience.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off of allowing him to cut off everything that you want to do, or you got to grow.
Yeah.
So he got to prune you, which is not going to be, it's not fun. It don't feel good. You got to allow him to prune and cut your attitude and cut your friends off. You got to be isolated. All of that.
Yes,
but then he says, he comes back and say, when you do this, because you're showing obedience to me,
right?
Then you can ask what you want, and I'm gonna give it to you because you obeyed me.
That's beautiful.
So I said, So I can't get this over here until I listen to you. Well, how many times you want to get hit upside the head?
Evidently 1,000, because I know sometimes he just shake his head at me. I made her? Yes, Father.
But that good thing about the Father is he's patient.
Yes.
He's loving, kind. He understands. And he's like, she's going to get it.
Yeah.
And when she gets it, all of this is going to make sense.
It's beautiful. I mean, the fact that he loves little old me unconditionally is crazy. I mean, so many times I was the prodigal son, prodigal daughter. I wanted, like you said, I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. I'll wait right here. Because
when you get done crying and why me and how would I get here and he like,
not coming back every
my arms, they wide open. You're like, come on, dang, how you?
I know he just be rolling his eyes. Okay,
here she go again. But the good thing about this is, we learn our lessons.
Yes, ma'am.
Good thing about this, we learn the lessons and we pass them on.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want somebody else to hurt.
No.
You don't want somebody else to be lost forever.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So I gotta tell it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes,
so now that we know that you're different, we know that you're going on a path of obedience, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And let's stick with high school before you get to.
Oh, Father, okay.
Because that pivotal time right there is when we start smelling ourselves. And I don't mean roses and perfume and Chanel and all of that. We feel like we've grown.
Yeah.
We feel like we have an idea of what we want in life.
Yes, ma'am.
So in high school, what did you want to do after you got out of high school, if you really wanted to be there?
After high school, I definitely wanted to go to college, and I definitely wanted to be an obstetrician. I wanted to be an obstetrician all my life because of the Cosby Show.
So obstetrician meaning
delivering babies,
right?
Delivering babies.
Delivering babies.
OBGYN.
Got you.
So I wanted to do that. I volunteered at labor and delivery, and I said, "Oh, never mind. I don't."
What happened?
It's too noisy. I just don't know. Well, Nia, it's babies there, so yay. You might want to change that up. And then I wanted to be okay. Everybody called me Sister Soldier. I was down for the cause, you know. My mom and dad always said if I was born like in the 60s, 70s, I would have been a Black Panther. So maybe it should be a civil rights lawyer. I volunteered at a firm, and I said, "This is boring. I got to read all this. I'm not doing that." So then my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer in high school, and I'm a daddy's girl through and through. Talk to him every day. Talk to my mom every day too, and he had to have radiation therapy treatments. So I volunteered in the radiation oncology department. I said, "Oh, this is it. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Exactly what I want to do."
So you got to the place before. I'm like, okay, so where did this passion come from for cancer in general?
Yes.
And being into this profession. So basically your dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Yep.
And this is, ringing in a heart place, because I remember when my dad, he was a kidney patient for 18 years before he passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
And those moments of when he first found out what was going on, it was like, okay, we have to sit down at the table and have a conversation of what life might look like. Because what we thought was going to be normal is not normal anymore. And in the beginning, it was the grafts were clogging up, and he had all these surgeries and all of these things to figure out the right graft and the right this and right that. And he couldn't work anymore and all of this stuff. So everything was like
new norm. Yes.
What in the what we gonna do now? And my mom was like, God gonna give me this. Yes, God. God gonna give me the strength to take care of our family, because we said when we was at that altar, for better or for worse,
yes, ma'am,
for richer or poor, and through sickness and health. So my mom, the RN, made sure she went out and then she came home to take care of her husband.
Wow.
While she was raising 3 kids.
Wow. That's strength.
Yes. And so that was a struggle to see, my Superman become frail. To see the backbone of the family in a wheelchair.
Right.
And so I get it. I get it. And I think for me, I was like, I'm a helper, but I couldn't do medical school.
I understand.
And then all the horror stories I heard from my mama, I was like, nope, I'm not going here. So what was that conversation when you decided that this is the field I want to go in with your family?
They said, do it. I don't even think there was a conversation. They just said, okay. I saw that my dad went through his treatments. Everybody knows I'm a daddy's girl. They always knew I wanted to be in the medical field somehow. So when I went to school, it just made sense just to be in allied health. That was kind of like the umbrella. And then I specifically studied radiation therapy. And I don't think there was a conversation. It's so funny. Since I was like 3, my family has always called me doctor. Forever. They just didn't know it was going to be. They didn't know it was going to be PhD. I think they wanted me to do MD. I didn't have time for all that. But, forever they called me doctor. So it made sense no matter where I was in medicine. As long as I stayed in medicine, it kind of made sense to them. So it was just kind of like, oh, okay, Nia, cool. That's it. My family is always so supportive. So.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Cam said obedience brings blessings and he'll never leave us.
Yes.
And I say this with the most gracious and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying not to cry. I'm not gonna do that today. I'm not, even though it only took me 15 minutes to put this face on.
You
I'm
did it.
I'm not gonna mess it up. The gratitude and the graciousness of God
Yeah.
and his hand on your life is like you can't get away if you wanted to, because I'm in need of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in need of you. The gifts and talents that I put inside of you, the seeds that's been planted in you since you was 3, since you was 4, all your life, I have traces of my love around you,
Mm-hmm.
inside of you.
That's
I
beautiful.
need you to be able to heal people. Even in these moments of hearing bad news that I have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And to say that we talked about this before, when you hear cancer, it's like automatically you didn't put yourself in the grave. You didn't already close the casket,
That's
all
me.
of these different things. And it's not necessary.
That's me.
It's not so.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was school like for you?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? A motivation? Was it frustrating? What was it going to actually in this actual field?
That's a good question. I think it was motivating because my father had it. There's times where you're like, I don't feel like studying. I'm tired. I had to go. So I live in Philadelphia, but my clinical site was in Delaware. So I have to wake up, I think 4:30 a.m. and get myself dressed and all that, and then drive 45 minutes to an hour to my clinical site. Um, and then be there by like 6:45. And then we had patients every 15 minutes. So I never had a break, unless it was like 30 minutes for my lunch break, because as a student I had to have a break. And then I was done around 3 o'clock, and then I would drive back, and then I had to study, and I was tired because I took a nap before this, and I love naps, so I couldn't take a nap, so Father help us. So it was a lot, but what got me through it was, like you said, my father. What got me through it is my family. I have to be very biased and say I have the best family ever. So my father always supported me. My mother always supported me, and my brother always supported me. At that time, I lived with my brother because I'm like, my brother's my best friend. I'm in college. I want to live it up with my brother because he's young, we're young, so it was perfect to live with him. And let me tell you something, I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to buy groceries. I didn't have to buy utility or, pay for utilities. He held me down, so I was able to just focus.
Focus. Mm-hmm.
So I better got through school because, Nia, what else are you doing? So I have the best family that pushed me. So if for nothing else, if I couldn't do it for myself, it was for my family, because I stand on their shoulders. Everything that they did put me in a position to, I don't always win, but put me in a position to thrive because of them. So they always have little Nia's back. My mom calls me Bunny. They always have Bunny's back. And that got me through.
So, how long was your span of schooling?
So let's see. I graduated high school in 2010. I went to Immaculata University. So at Immaculata University, there was a program. So I did 3 years at Immaculata, 1 year at Thomas Jefferson, and it enabled me to have 2 bachelors. So that was 4 years. So I graduated 2014 with 2 bachelors. I went right into my field. I took the board, the national boards, went right into my field at Christiana Care. And then I waited a year. Then I went and got my master's at LaSalle University. And I was in education with a concentration of bilingual bicultural studies. And then right after that, I went to Westchester University and got my doctorate. And so the completion was in 2020 during the pandemic. So a span of 6 years.
That still wasn't bad.
Oh, Father, I was over it. No, I mean, saying it, it's not bad, but in it, you're like, oh, I'm over it, Father.
I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
So, let's see. Did you have any other support outside of your family?
The village. So my mom has best friends she's known since she was 5. They're part of the village. I call them my aunts. My friends, my best friends, Tamara, Tania, Tatiana, Jordan, Imani, the village behind me. It's church family, mentors, of course. I can't be who I am without the village. There's no Nia without the village. 100%. Without them, we wouldn't be talking. So yeah, I had plenty of support outside of my nuclear family.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that out because, again, most success stories
Uh-huh.
all have a village
Mm-hmm.
that supported them, especially in the dark times, in those
Oh,
moments of you didn't know that I was hungry and you fed me. Those moments when I didn't know, when you didn't have extra money to go get clothes, you clothed me. Those moments of I'm not sure if my light's gonna be on or whatever, and you bless me. You listen to God to say, "We need a blessing now."
and that's the village. I'm 30 years old now. I can say to my dad, "Can I have $300?" Because yes, Mom, can I just Sunday I just went to my mom's house. She packed up all this food for me. Thanks, ma'am. My brother, I'm doing this. And they don't need. It's just okay because it's love. Because why? They know if they needed it, it's the same thing. But I've been blessed to be the baby, so they've always, just had a crazy support. And I will, no matter where I go, I will always mention them because without them, I am nothing. They help me out so much, and they still do. I have a beautiful, beautiful family.
It's very important, especially in college. It's very important to have that support.
Yes, ma'am.
It's very important to just the little things that people take for granted, like washing clothes. Uh, all of these things that we take for granted when we're
Yes, ma'am.
home, but college, it does. When you get the care package, when you get the letter of encouragement to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not easy.
Yeah.
But again, the motivation. So were you that person that say, "Hey, I'm in school, I'm learning this, Dad, what are they saying? What's the numbers on this? I could tell you a new trick I learned or
No,
something."
I just learned it, and they're the people that be like, "What you learned?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got to tell you because I don't feel like telling you." But once they ask me, then I would say it. But not, I think if I met somebody cool or, if I learned something very interesting, I would say it. But other than that, not really. I think I kind of, and that's just me now. I kind of like just stay in my lane. And sometimes people are like, you don't share anything. And it's not for me to be a recluse or not to share anything. I don't know if it's me being humble or, I don't really share anything unless people ask.
I get it. My mom was the total opposite. So my mom, in her nursing,
Mm-hmm.
she could go to different floors.
Okay.
I think she did the prison a couple of times
Oh,
and
okay.
um, the psych ward.
Wow.
Now
Okay.
that's where all the money is. If
Wow.
you are already a nurse,
Uh huh.
outside of traveling nurse,
Uh huh.
psych ward in a jail is where all the money is.
Wow. Okay.
They pay you all that because most people can't deal with the environment.
That makes sense.
So my mom decided, because my dad was a kidney patient, she went into Reno to find out how to take care of her husband.
Wow. That makes
So
sense.
she learned the ins and outs of that, and that's what she did.
Wow.
So my mom was a person, she should have went to be a doctor, put it that way.
Okay.
But however, she did that so she knew how to, when they send him home from treatment, how to take care of him when he's home or get ready for treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people don't understand with treatment and cancer treatment, it take a lot out of you,
That's me.
physically, mentally, all of that, when you're on the machine for so many hours,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. um
That's me.
So now we know that you are a doctor of radiation therapy.
Mhm.
What is the first thing that you, or your mission, or the first thing you see that I need to change this?
The laws. So I've seen so many young people in general, but specifically young women, have breast cancer. The youngest patient that I had, she was 24 years old. We both at the time had box braids. We both had gold anklets. We both like Meek Mill, the rapper, Philly rapper. And she passed away at 24 years old. So I said, "What is happening? That doesn't make any sense to me. How are you 24 years old and you're not here and you have breast cancer? That's not. Nobody talks about that." So then I'm with these patients for between 4 to 6 weeks. So we really create a bond with each other. And my one patient turned friend, Jacqueline Smith, I went through her, I treated her radiation therapy treatments, and then we became friends afterwards. And she was doing fine. But I always said that I would tell her story because she passed away. So her story goes like this. She went to her gynecologist and said, "Hey, I feel a lump. Can you feel it?" And the gynecologist felt the lump and said, "Oh, it's nothing. You're young. It's probably just a cyst. Go about your business." So a year went by. She went back to the gynecologist to have her IUD taken out to start a family. When the gynecologist did the exam, she felt the lump. Her eyes got big. They did an ultrasound, a mammogram, a biopsy, and it turned out to be what's called triple negative breast cancer, which is a very aggressive type of breast cancer. So she went through chemotherapy, rounds of surgery, radiation treatments. She thought she was fine. But unfortunately, the breast cancer spread or metastasized to her brain, and she later passed away. Too many young women are being diagnosed with breast cancer at later stages because people are saying, "Oh, you're too young. You can't have breast cancer. Just go about your day." But what infuriates me and what needs to change is if there's something called pediatric cancer, where a child can have cancer at 2, at
Mhm.
5, at 10. That means somebody at 24, 34 is not too young to get cancer, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So what infuriates me and what I want to change is that mammogram mandate, because right now it says at 40 you should have a mammogram. Some insurances say at 40 yearly, or at 40 and then you can go every other year. So people miss that, hey, that's what they say, but if you have a family cancer history, you can get mammograms, 3D MRIs, breast MRIs at an earlier age. This is the things that we need to educate because, hey, I started getting mammograms at the age of 28, 29 because of my family cancer history. So it infuriates me that people just, or the government, regulations, insurances, put something in a box where you can get cancer way earlier than 40. And
Mhm.
that's what I want to change. And I've been seeing this in clinic. 24, 34, 46 of women passing away of breast cancer. If the doctors would have listened to them early on and just went ahead and did the testing, then they would be here today because the earlier that you catch it, the better prognosis. That's what I want to change.
So what exactly, to inform people, what exactly is radiation therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. So, radiation therapy is a localized treatment that treats this specific area. So, if you have breast cancer, I'm treating that side of the breast. If you have prostate cancer, I'm treating your prostate. If you have a brain cancer, I'm treating your brain. Lung, I'm treating your lung. The difference between radiation and chemotherapy is radiation, like I said, is localized. Chemotherapy, it's systemic. So that's why you see if a woman has breast cancer but they have chemotherapy, then they don't have any hair, their nails are falling off, they have neuropathy, because systemic means that chemo was going throughout your entire body. Radiation, I'm just focused on that side, that particular primary site where your cancer is located.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. So if your dad hadn't, have you ever thought of that? If your dad hadn't had prostate cancer, do you think you would have went on this side of it?
I don't
No.
think so. I, They mentioned something called nuclear medicine, which is a whole different like modality. And I think I only thought about it a brief second because they make a good money. But that's not something that I would probably want to do. But if it wasn't for my father, I don't even think I would have known about radiation therapy. You know, every time I heard cancer, I thought about chemotherapy, not radiation therapy. So unfortunately, my father's diagnosis really propelled my career.
And so how is your dad now?
Amazing. He's fine. He's good. You know, I think he has some side effects um, as far as just like fatigue and things like that, but he is doing amazing. And I'm thankful to God that, you know, he kept my father and that my father's able to see like, hey, my baby got into this field because of me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we already talked about the importance of getting preventative care
Yes.
of breast cancer, of catching it early,
Mm-hmm.
um, and really paying attention to your body.
Right.
Um, so what can you say to women for the things to look for
Absolutely.
for their body?
Absolutely. So number one, just to always know your body, really be in tune with your body. Look, take off all your clothes, look in the mirror, and look at your body. Does your breast is one breast bigger than the other? And sometimes that's normal. But is your nipple inverted? Is it going in? Does it look like an orange peel? Those are some signs. Is it painful? That's a sign. I had a woman who told me she had not a pain in her breast, but a pain in her arm because she had a swollen lymph node. So I would say, look at your body. If something looks different, if this side looks different than this side, that's a red flag. Drastically, you know, because typically women's one breast is bigger than the other, smaller than the other. But if it looks drastically, absolutely, I would seek help. But one of the things that I would say is, since we're talking about preventative care, there's an acronym called Brenda, and it highlights preventative ways for women, you know, not to get breast cancer. So that acronym B. So for women who are of the childbearing ages, breastfeed B for about a year or longer. That decreases the risk of getting breast cancer. R, reducing the sugary consumption and alcohol consumption because sugar feeds on cancer. So listen, I love lemonade, but I can't have it all the time. I love, don't tell anybody, but vodka and cranberry, but I can't have that all the time either because that feeds on cancer. We all have cancerous cells in us. That's a fact. But if we keep drinking a lot of sugary drinks, if we keep drinking alcohol, that increases our risk of getting breast cancer. The E in Brenda means exercise. So it's very important throughout the week we do something active, whether we walk, whether we dance, things like that reduces the risk of breast cancer. Eat nutritious foods. So I'm from Philly, so I love a cheesesteak, but I can't have it all the time. My plates need to be very colorful. I need to have kale. I need to have, you know, my mom has a business more than kale, and she always says, Nia, eat this and do this because she knows that helps and that decreases risk of breast cancer. Mm-hmm. Do not smoke at all. I know we're in the era of vaping and hookah and things like that, but all those things increases the risk of cancer. So it's important to not smoke anything at all. And then also achieve a healthy body weight for you. So my healthy body weight is different from anybody else's. But all those things and that acronym of Brenda reduces the risk of developing breast cancer. So those are things preventatively that we can do to help ourselves.
I think it was on the news not too long ago of understanding that breast cancer is not just to women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Men get it because men have breasts. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and the same advice minus the breastfeeding goes to the men. Same thing: eat, exercise, don't smoke, achieve a healthy body weight. All those things decreases their risk as well. And it's important too for men because typically they don't have as much adipose tissue that women do. But it's important for them to feel on their, you know, their pecs and just say, hey, is this looks not normal? Hey, is that a lump? You know, because I know muscles and things like that, and muscles look different on men's pecs. But if that looks abnormal, definitely go to any doctor. That can be your primary care doctor, that can be your family doctor, and for women that can be your gynecologist to get things checked out.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I also read in your bio that you did a breast cancer documentary
Yes,
called
ma'am.
A Letter to My Sisters.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so A Letter to My Sisters, a breast cancer documentary for young women, is about three amazing women and their journey through their diagnosis. So the one woman, she is Jamaican, Asian, and Puerto Rican. Her name is Janique Rivera, and she was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer in her 20s. The next woman, Brenda Durante, she's Mexican. She was diagnosed in her 30s, and her interviews in Spanish, but we provided English subtitles. And the last woman, Lynn Mitchell, she was diagnosed in her 40s, and she's Caucasian. So my point in writing this and directing this was that breast cancer does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how old you are, but I know I'm talking about the younger people because they're usually excluded. What you look like, how much money you make, what language you speak. Unfortunately, you can be diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's very important to share those stories. So when we had those screenings, what women were getting out of it is, oh, I should have a mammogram. Oh, I should know my family cancer history. I should really advocate for myself, because as young women, as young people, sometimes we're not heard. So it's very important to say, hey, no, I don't feel well. This is an issue. I need help. And if that doctor is not listening to you, then you go to another doctor. So those were the themes coming out of the documentary. That's very important, because ultimately, we really want to save lives. That's most important. So that's why I created the documentary, just for educational purposes, and just to tell their stories, because their stories are very powerful.
Absolutely. Now, I think I went not too long ago, and it's almost this shared thing of the dreadful machine, right? Of the mammogram machine.
Because it hurts.
It does hurt, especially when you're big breasted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like scoop here, scoop there, smash this. And it'd be like, ma'am, sir, this don't feel good.
Right. It's uncomfortable. Stop it.
It's very awkward.
Yes.
In the future, is there a way to make that a different process or something?
I think they're going to look into it, because obviously the point, you don't want to deter people from getting care because they think, hey, it does hurt and it's uncomfortable. I think that's always coming down the pipe. But right now, it's just, I hear a lot of people say this: momentary discomfort for a beautiful lifetime. So it's uncomfortable for a moment, but the purpose is to get those results. So sometimes in life, you have to go through a little discomfort, right, to get to where you need to be. So I think definitely down the pike, they're looking into something more, less hurtful, But right now, you just have to be uncomfortable for a little bit, just so to get the results.
I get it.
You're like, okay.
So, the mindset is, I do want to catch it early.
Absolutely.
If that was ever, you get the postcard or the letter in the mail. Oh, it's your annual. It's that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's so important, because like you said, the earlier you catch it, you have so many options. Maybe they say just surgery. Maybe they say radiation and you just have so many options. But if you wait and it's advanced, you don't have a lot of options, and you lose that control. And not to say that we're control freaks, but I think that we want some type of control over our lives. I'd rather have 5 options than just one. So that's so important. I think one thing that, so after the mammogram, sometimes women get that letter that says you have dense breasts. That means nothing, because dense breast just means that radiographer can't clearly see what's in that picture. So for everybody out there, if they say you have dense breasts, you need to push for either a 3D mammogram, or if you receive that and they still say dense breasts, then you need to push for a breast MRI, because that's more detailed. because after that, the breast MRI, they should be able to clearly see what you do have or what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important. And I think sometimes people miss that. Dense breast just only means that the imager, the person reading that image can't see anything. And they think they don't see anything. I don't need you to think, I need you to know.
Absolutely.
So for everybody, push for that breast MRI because that is more detailed and it's clear. That way they be able to see what's really going on in your breast.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where does this moment of, I know we hinted at it earlier from your grandma, the moment of starting your nonprofit to get out and feed and clothe and fellowship with the homeless people?
You know, it's always been in making. My grandmother, she would always say, never look down on anyone unless you're extending a hand down to help them up. So we would always walk the streets of Philadelphia and you see a homeless person and you see people walk past them. She would help them. She would give them food. She would give them money. She would do anything to help that person. So as my grandmother passed away, my mother and I would do the same thing. And my mom would always say, we are one decision away. We are one paycheck away from being that person. So you better help that person. So it was because of those things that were instilled in me that it was like, you know what, let's create this nonprofit. Let's have people donate clothes. Let's have people donate food to these people and let's just fellowship with them. And I think that's, I wouldn't say most important because people need to eat and people need to, be clothed, but just for them to be seen. So many times you just walk, you're busy. You walk just past somebody, but there are people too. That could be me. So we just spend time with them while they're eating, while we're, just spending time with them. And we talk about Christ, which is very important. And we talk about, hey, do you want to get your GED or not? Hey, you're living on the street. There's programs where you can be assisted in getting a house, things like that, that we really create a bond with them. Because ultimately, like you mentioned in the biography, that we just want to eradicate homelessness. And there's so many things that, go into homelessness, but we just want them to be seen. We want them off the street. We want them to be Christ-filled. We want them to be mentally stable, spiritually stable, physically stable. And we just do that by hanging out with them while they're eating.
That is good. That is everything we do is about the heart. And sometimes it's not easy being a trailblazer. And I say that often. And it's at this point, it's your gift will make room for you, but you also have to still be a servant, which means you serve.
Yes, ma'am.
I started off saying, and I feel this very strongly, of God continues to be in need of you. We don't do things to be seen. We do it because it's the call on our life. It's the mission. It's to share the good news of what Jesus did for us, what God did for us. And it's nothing for us to do to tell someone how I made it.
Yeah.
How I seen some things. I met some people on the way up and on the way down. That his grace and mercy is sufficient. It never leaves. It never runs out. And even when people lie to you and try to set you up and do all manner of evil against you, if you God's child, you will be protected.
Absolutely.
Some things, and I understand even with when we go somewhere, it's important to be kind to people.
Absolutely.
You don't know their story.
That is so true. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to see that person again. And you're going to need that person in whatever capacity. And I think I've realized that just recently, like, oh, I remember you. And that experience that we had prior to was so beautiful that, oh yeah, girl, I got you. I'll help you. And I get, you're not nice. You're genuine in your kindness, So it's not like I think I'm gonna need you in 10 years, so let me be nice to you. No, but thank God for that purity of the heart and being kind because I know you, I know you, I know you, and each time it was a good experience, and God has allowed them in some capacity to to bless us.
Absolutely. I'll come back and bless you. It happens so often that some people are not aware of it. They're not aware how God operates.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this realm, he has us.
Mm-hmm.
So your hands, your advice, your experience is needed for someone to come in, even if they were diagnosed, to understand this is not a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Jesus went through for your healing?
You're absolutely right. And so it's so crazy because those patients, they actually blessed me. Because how dare I complain that I'm tired when they're going through cancer treatments and they work full time and they still cook for their family and they still do that. Nia, what are you complaining for? It checks your perspective. It checks you. I'm allowed to be tired, but okay, you can take a nap after work. That person can't.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself. It's an eye opener, and they end up really blessing me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I seen that Bev is here tonight. And she's, been saying, hey,
I miss Beth.
I'm just totally grateful again to meet another wonderful human being
Thank you.
and
Likewise.
to see the hand of God on you to do what you do,
Thank you.
because otherwise you wouldn't be able to.
That's me.
Um, even in this moment of the mission going internationally
Wow.
to go and bless people,
Wow.
to take the knowledge that you have in your youth, to be able to really undergird and really put forth the effort of changing the laws,
Yes, me.
changing regulations. When I said it's not easy being a trailblazer, but believe me, with God on our side,
Mm.
we'll be able to tear down walls. We'll be able to run over and jump over hoops and all of these different things. It may look easy to someone else, but God graced us for what we do.
Yes, me.
Um, Again, the heart of a person to be able to want to change somebody else's circumstances is the question that we always ask ourselves in the back of our head.
Mm-hmm.
If I won the lottery, even though I don't play, what would I do with that type of money?
Mm-hmm.
Would my first thing be to help someone,
Mm-hmm.
or would it be to be selfish and help me?
Right, right, right.
So before I let you go, there are a couple of questions
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
that I always ask my people.
Yes, ma'am.
What is something about you people will be surprised to know about you?
Uh, that I absolutely love basketball, and I think I'm the female LeBron James. Me and LeBron can check rock, so
I'm gonna need me a drink on that one.
Just saying.
So you trying to tell me
Mm.
that you can ball?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
LBJ Nia.
Uh-uh. Mm.
Just call me that.
Nope. Uh-uh.
Just call me. That's my name.
So this is what I'm gonna do. When I get to Philly, this is called a challenge. And I haven't played basketball in years.
I mean, I'm going to embarrass you, but LBJ.
I'm gonna need another drink on that one. Lord, she didn't.
LBJ Nia.
I'm just gonna tell you now. So I'm baby Barkley, okay? Yeah. So we gonna see.
Okay. Okay.
It's on record.
Yeah.
We gonna go back and what you say you was gonna do? You was gonna what?
Embarrass you?
Okay.
Embarazada?
Okay. You just find us a park, a gym.
Let's go.
I don't care. It could be your backyard.
The YMCA.
All of that. And then I'm gonna have Bev to record it for the records. All right. Enough said. Enough of that. Okay. All right.
Just saying.
She gonna have me come out of retirement.
Just saying.
I just want y'all to understand. She's talking mad junk to an elderly person.
You are not elderly. So try again. You are not elderly. Try again. I love it.
So 15 years, her senior.
You're not elderly.
Whatever. Anyway.
I will respectfully embarrass you. Respectfully. I won't talk trash after I embarrass you, but you know.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. So now that we got that out of the way, so are you into movies, music, like?
Love. I just saw Creed 3. Praise the Lord. Michael B. Jordan was amazing, and Jonathan Majors. Yes, amazing. I love all types of music. You can give me Kurt Franklin. You can give me, I don't know, Drake. You can give me Celine Dion. I just love music. Love it. Love dancing. What else? Basketball, like I said. I just, everything, you know. So most importantly, what I can do is just, I love watching movies and just like I'm corny. I like watching the Golden Girls on Netflix after work or Hulu.
Okay.
So I don't know. I like to chill, relax.
Absolutely. So the mission of this wonderful doctor, 30 years old.
Oh, Lord.
Write your own ticket. And have you gotten an award for being what does they call it? The humanitarian award yet?
No.
Okay. I can say this. In your moments of doing what you do in Philly, best believe there are people in your city who are watching you. They're watching to see if you're going to be consistent.
Yes, ma'am.
They're watching to see if this is really real.
Understood.
Or is it just for the moment?
Right.
Because it seems like the right thing to do.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just the beginning for you. Talking about writing a book and having those moments. So what was that moment like, writing a book for the kids?
Yeah, it was exciting because it's the story of my grandmother. She's that person who came from Inner South Carolina, you know, raised my mother, taught my brother and I, and was a blessing on my mom, my dad, my brother, my mom. So it was a fun experience I worked with my friend Naj Grant. He is the owner of Daydream Creative Studios. So he was really pushing me to do it, and I did it. And then I worked with a fabulous illustrator, Jody Faber, and she really brought the illustrations to life. You know, she drew me and my mom and my dad and my brother, and I was like, oh, that's what we look like, you know? It was a beautiful experience, and so much so that Jody and I were working on another children's book as well. So, you know, once again, it goes back to that obedience. I didn't want to do it, but God said you need to do it, and so I did it. And then just all of this between the documentary, the nonprofit, and the book, I don't want to miss my calling. You know, when God calls me home, I want to be able to say I used everything He gave me. And He knows I'm probably going to be on the west side of heaven because I'm a little crazy. But I want Him to be pleased with what I'm doing. I'm sure He rolls His eyes at me every day, but I think He definitely knows my heart, and He knows I'm trying because I want, no matter what, when people come across me, I want them to be able to see Him. You know, they might see a ghetto version of Him, but I definitely want them to see Him no matter what. So I don't want to miss my mark.
And that is a good cause, a good attitude, a good mindset to have, of, you know, having God to say, you know, welcome, come on in, my good and faithful servant. Welcome home.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
In my mind, in those tough moments in life, I think of the great cloud of witnesses who are there literally cheering you on, like it's only a facade, it's only a test. He ain't as big as he think he is. He only this small. So this was another moment of perspective for me, to understand that, you know, we can be touched with some adversity, but we still win. We don't know how God's going to use something to get us on the path that He wants us on. But ain't you happy you was obedient?
Yeah. Yes. And that's why He looks at me like, didn't it work before? Why are you questioning me? I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry.
And we do that because we humans.
Mm-hmm.
And He'd be like, you ain't learned yet. I'm like, you know what, God, you right.
You right. Yep. That's all you can say. You right. My bad.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I probably do it again, might be 6 months from now, but
Of course.
I'm sorry, God.
But
I'll get together.
yes, but His love is so unconditional. It's crazy. Little old me gets this beautiful grace and mercies, plural. Little old me. Yeah. It's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
It's beautiful being a King's kid. Love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all look different.
Yes.
We all act different.
Yes.
We all connect in a different way. And having these moments like this, we realize that we're more similar than we are different.
Yes,
And that was one of the moments of learning more about humans.
yes.
Because some of the things that you dealt with, I've dealt with. Both having fathers who were ill. And seeing those moments of what perseverance looks like.
Yes, ma'am.
What going through the trial that God has given you, and you still didn't complain.
Yes, ma'am.
I never heard my dad complain ever.
Likewise.
Even when I would have, he
would have
did.
heard it from me.
So, yeah, wow, interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
So before I let you go,
okay.
So you said Philly, right?
Philly.
Jill Scott, music.
Yeah. Will Smith.
Will Smith.
The Roots. Meek Mill. Kevin Hart. Patti LaBelle. Teddy Pendergrass.
Ooh.
Everything's like on the tip of my tongue, but we got some heavy hitters. Huge heavy hitters.
Well, one scene I know for sure. You know the scene? Ain't that in Philly?
Mm-hmm.
Rocky?
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, God, I got you. So, for that moment in the city of Philly,
Mm-hmm.
just from that moment right there, so many seeds was planted.
Yes, ma'am.
I never knew that until just now. So that movie was early 80s. And you were born when?
92. Look at your face.
Did you just catch that?
Yes, ma'am.
So the seed of the whole city, really, Rocky, was there before you were even born.
Yes, ma'am.
And now you're walking in this. Oh my God. I'm done.
Yes.
I am officially over it. Jeez.
You
Oh.
are funny. Yeah. That is beautiful.
Mm, 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 mm.
That is good. Yes, ma'am.
76ers, right?
Come with it. 76ers, Eagles, the Phillies.
I ain't say all of them. But I was like,
You're a hater. It's okay. It's fine.
so I was thinking Dr. J, right?
Yes.
And AI. Ooh.
Some heavy hitters.
Okay, we're gonna get off that. Anywho, we gonna get off of that. So tonight, you guys, I got a few announcements. I have been having a great time with this doctor right here. Don't mind me.
I love it. I love it.
This is not proper English, but I ain't had no sleep.
God bless you because
Sister Tad, and this
look,
left eye right here.
You look revived. I can't tell.
This right, left. Yes, left. It's about to close. However,
You are funny.
so this I am, especially when I'm sleeping. So, in my former life, I was a comedian.
You are funny. You said this eye is about to close.
this left one, and I had to do like this. Is this left, right? Wait, am I right-handed? Okay, so this left.
I love it.
That was the secret in elementary. So you're right-handed. So whatever this side of your face is like,
right.
This is right side. So my left.
I love it.
Woo, that's funny. Okay. Woo, that is funny. So if you want to support, it's not even if you want to. I am demanding. I am requesting that you guys support this wonderful Black young doctor. Okay? I need y'all to support her. See, on Facebook, she is Nia Imani.
Ma'am.
IG, she is Dr. Ni Imani.
Yep.
Also, Letter to My Sisters 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
And Agape FYPIYF 17.
That is hilarious. I didn't realize how long it was until you just said it.
Agape. FYP.
You're supposed to be finding your purpose, incorporating your faith.
That should be a song right there. I think that's the hook.
That's Morse code right there. Whatever. Don't follow that one.
Woo! It's getting hot in here.
That is hilarious. You don't fix that one.
Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Whew. It must be my old age. Whew.
Stop saying that you're not old.
So in October, this past October, God gave me the book, The Blueprint, God's Design. It is on Amazon. You can purchase it. You can actually write my name in, Camila Foster, and it will come up.
Wow.
So God had a moment with me. I was trying to do everything and trying to be everything to everyone. And God said, sit down. You doing too much. You are veering off the path, and I need you to reset. And so out of my resetting with God, this is the moment of, we know when you build, you got to have the instructions. So go back to the beginning.
Yes.
Go back to the beginning. If you want to continue to keep the lights on, literally, with all the moments here, and since I do it out of my home, the Cash App is $Sunshine Camila, KAMILAH. You can donate. It is all for a good cause.
Absolutely. For the kingdom.
That. Alita Cotton, who, man, in these short months have been, I'm trying not to cry. She has been that moment when you need someone the most. Gotta send you a ram in the bush. So she's my ram. She has business, AC's Tees.
Nice.
The phone number is 313-380-0321. She is a lifesaver. Even with having diabetes, we would talk about conversations of the turmeric and ginger and what it does for our bodies.
Absolutely.
And when I was having pains and joints and things like that, how much ginger you intaking? How much turmeric are you intaking? Because they're natural inflammatories. And so trying not to be on medicine, no insulin, no none of that. I'm not trying to do it. She has been really coaching me on lifestyle change. And so she's on Facebook at AYECEE. So please support her. She is going places. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. Last but not least, April 6th through the 8th, we are 2 weeks away from this major production of Perilous Times. It will be at the Fisher Theater. Tickets are on sale right now at BroadwayInDetroit.com. This story is amazing. It's the best evangelism tool there is. A person being on the wrong side of the track, and one moment life can change for them. But for him, he goes back into biblical times to see why God sent his son.
Wow.
And he goes through the whoopings and the accusing, the cross, the raising up, and all of these different things, and then being able to have that chance of choosing God.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So we have some power pack local Detroit gospel artists, Kiera Sheard.
Whoa.
This a couple of our people, Kevin Stewart Jr., DeLorean Cotton, Gwen Nation, who sings background for Charlie Wilson.
Whoa.
Yeah, some big ones in here. Amber Ty, who's hand in hand with Country Wayne.
Wow.
And what is the, I can't think of her name right now, but she is the leading lady of what is the, my goodness, True to the Game
Wow.
with Columbus Short.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and they're all Detroit people.
That's huge.
So yeah, and the chorus is no joke. From the director TJ Hemphill, the producers Joe Smith, Pamela English, Shirley Smith, you name it, we got it.
Wow.
So, even if you want to fly in,
listen, I might have to because this is crazy.
Yeah. So April, the week of Easter, April 6th through 8th, we're at the well-known renowned Fisher Theater, and you don't want to miss it. So again, Doctor, do you have any last words?
My last words are advocate for yourself, know your body, know your family cancer history, and always, always, always be obedient to God. And no matter where you are, always mention Him.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So you guys, again, I know you did enjoy this conversation with Dr. Nia Imani Bailey. Again, I pray much success.
Thank you.
Covering, of course, of the blood, that anything you put your mind to, that it will be successful. Anything you touch will be healed and set free and delivered. That anything that you even perceive in your mind, that God would do more for you. Amen. So again, all of this comes from obedience.
Yes,
ma'am. So again, you guys, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're literally one person away, one advice away, one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. I'll be back this Thursday at 7 with another doctor. Dr. Eddie Connors.
Wow.
Who is, he got an extensive empowerment speaker, college professor, founder of the Eagles Academy, which empowers you to soar into success and purpose. He also serves as the president of the National Entrepreneurs Association of Michigan.
I know that's right.
And guess what? He young too.
Do it, sir. Okay.
So, yeah.
We'll be
back Thursday with that doctor.
That's you.
So again, please join us. Tell somebody about it. If you have anyone that you want to see on the show, inbox me. I have no problems. Again, thanks again for this tonight. Afterwards, I will send you the link to the show.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can do what you will with it. Again, you guys, I will see you on Thursday. And we out of here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.